Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to go over a workflow that we use to basically get all of our data for the agency. And it really comes down to only a couple of sites that you really need to be able to get to, your data. And so this is a general walkthrough of what we do. We use Clay literally for everything. Like everything feeds into Clay, and we do all of our enrichment and cleaning in there. But usually, we'll find different sources to start with. And so, in this video, we're going to go over a lot of those sources. When do we go to those sources? When do we not go to those sources? And we'll talk about a lot of that. And so, I'll show off some of the tools, and we'll just show how we're doing things. And so, the first thing I would want to just point out is just Clay is just one of the biggest tools that we use in general. The data enrichments that we can get in Clay is crazy. You could look at all of the providers here and just see all of the amazing extra providers that you could get from them, and it's absolutely incredible of what you can do. I basically have dedicated this whole channel to Clay and my work with them. So if you want to see all of the things that you can do in Clay, go for it. It's in my other videos. There's absolutely amazing things that you can do. The other main way that we build lists is a classic one. We just use Apollo. And, in Apollo, they just make it so easy to just source lists. I would say things that we're always using is like job titles. And then I love how if you go into company and then include, exclude list of companies, you could upload a list of domains here. And then if you were to go to companies, if you just had company names, you could import from CSV a list of company names, import them into your list over here, and then you would be able to get the domains and all of this stuff. So Apollo is a really great search tool for those kinds of cases. And then we also use Sales Navigator. And so the times that we use Apollo versus the time that we need Sales Navigator is, if we're just doing a quick search of, I just want every CEO of companies in the financial services industry with 1 to 10 employees. That's super easy. We'll usually just do that inside of Apollo. Their data is good enough, and we'll just take it from there. We use Sales Navigator if we need more custom things. So one, the industries inside of Sales Navigator are a lot better. And then two, there's a lot of like intent signals that you can get inside of Sales Navigator, like change jobs in the last 90 days, posted on LinkedIn in 30 days, and things like that. And then you could do Boolean searches on the keywords inside of Sales Navigator. And so that's a big thing that we will use. And sometimes when we need super up-to-date contact data, we'll be using that as well. And so to make grabbing data from Sales Navigator much easier, we use two tools in particular. The first one is Phantom Buster, which is really, really easy. Whoops. We'll just look at, so you could do a LinkedIn search export. I think it would actually be called a Sales Navigator search export, where you would use this Phantom, and then it would pull all of the contacts that are a part of a Sales Navigator search that you've created. This does use your account to scrape Sales Navigator though. So I always recommend this company called LeadHype. The domain is tool.leadhype.com. They use their own accounts to access Sales Navigator. So you could create a search. You can't use any of these things in the workflow part because it's not your profile that they're going to be scraping from. But you could use all of the rest of the searches, and then you could send data. You could send the links to them, and then they'll output all of the data for you. And then I'm just going to sign in real quick. They also do a lot of good local US business searching. So if you're looking for local businesses like pest control, then you could just put in the locations. I'll just put in, New York. And then you could launch this, and you could go look for local USA businesses as well. And so to just kind of round this out, Apollo we use for when we're doing super easy lists of just things that are stock within their filters. Sales Navigator we use when we need to do like a very, very up-to-date search. Or we need to do, we just need to use one of these filters inside of Sales Navigator as well. Sometimes we'll be scraping LinkedIn groups, and that really does a lot of help as well. And then we do all of our data enrichment inside of Clay, and this tool is definitely going to come up more inside of this video. And so the next tool that I would want to just go to is Crunchbase. We use Crunchbase all of the time to get fundraising, like accurate fundraising information, but they also have phenomenal industry information as well. And so if we ever need anything where, we need to know, hey, we want to look for anybody who has a company that had just been acquired, and, we want to know who the CEOs of those acquired companies are. Crunchbase is our go-to tool for things like that. Then their industry stuff is really good. Like, you have artificial intelligence here. Like I could put in SaaS. SaaS is a really tough one to get because, most companies don't identify themselves as SaaS. And so this is just the SaaS companies that are indexed by Crunchbase, and you've got a really good industry filter over here. The other really great part about Crunchbase is you could use their partner filters, which then you can get topics of interest, you could get web traffic, you could get tech in the company by G2 Stack, and you could just get like G2 Stack is really expensive to get access to. Built With is like $400 a month. Bombora is a couple hundred or $1,000 a month. And so Crunchbase also gives you access to these other intent providers that are really, really good. And I like to use those for that as well. So to round this one out, Crunchbase is really good if we're looking for investors, we're looking for people who recently raised money, we're looking for people who have recently had their business acquired, or we're looking for businesses that have acquired other businesses. And then we didn't even get into it. Their query builder search is crazy of what you're able to generate over here if it ever loads in time. And so then you can do tons and tons and tons of filters inside of Crunchbase. And so we talked a little bit about local businesses when we were talking about Lead Hype. We also could do a lot of local business scraping using D7 Lead Finder. Now, the biggest drawback with using D7 Lead Finder is it works well to find, see how somebody looked up credit card merchants or house washing or restaurants in Los Angeles, but it won't give you a lot of decision maker contact information. So we'll usually pair D7 Lead Finder up with Clay and use that to find the decision maker data really, really well. So if you're ever looking for businesses that have a low LinkedIn presence, D7 Lead Finder is really, really great for this. While we're also on the topic of local businesses, you could use the Google Maps search inside of Clay, which is also really good because any company that doesn't have a good LinkedIn presence, like they have a great Google Maps presence. So you think about it, plumbers don't have a great LinkedIn presence, but I wouldn't even want to reach out to a plumber that doesn't have a Google Maps presence because it's probably not even worth selling to them, right? And so when it comes to local businesses, our go-to is really Lead Hype, D7, and then the Google Maps search inside of Clay. Now, the other company that I would want to just call out is called Built With. And this company is really, really good for getting lists of companies that are using specific technologies. So somebody just came to me today and they said, hey, I want a list of people who are using retention.com as a technology. And so you could just go into Built With and you could just search retention.com as a technology. Not really sure if that worked. You could search retention.com as a technology, and you can get a report of all 885 websites that are using retention.com. And so this is really, really great for building lists of people that automatically qualify for something. So if you're looking for e-commerce brands, you can get e-commerce brands by putting in Shopify, and then you could get all of the companies in the world that are using Shopify. And so there's over 6 million companies that are using Shopify. Download this lead list, and then now you've got a good list of e-commerce companies, which is usually more difficult to find in other situations. Other ways that you could find e-commerce companies is with a company called Store Leads. I think it's .io. Oh, let's see here. It's storeleads.app. So StoreLeads is the platform that you could get a lot of e-commerce data on. And then another one you could get e-commerce data on, it's called BrandNav. And so then this one gives you a lot of e-commerce or DTC leads. That one's really good as well. And so the other thing that you can do with Built With is we've had customers in the past who really want to sell to coaches and consultants. And so coaches and consultants oftentimes use tools like Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, and things like that. And so Built With, again, is really, really great for finding this stuff. So then you could find everybody who's using Kajabi, and then you could figure out what kind of coach and consultant you want to look for by their keywords. And so the way that Built With works is if the company installs the technology on their website, Built With will detect it. If they don't install the technology on their website, it's very hard for Built With to detect it. So for instance, QuickBooks, people do not usually install QuickBooks onto their site. And so the other one is like HubSpot. Yes, you can find a lot of companies that are using HubSpot in Built With, but think about how many companies use HubSpot as a CRM and they never connect it with their website. So it's going to have a lot of missing data over here. Another great way that you can get technologies is by looking at companies' job descriptions. And so whether you scrape job descriptions yourself or you use a function inside of Clay called Predict Leads. Hold on, we'll go to that provider. And then you could look at all of the past job descriptions and find tech stack in there. And so to kind of just round out the tech stack targeting, we basically use Built With for most of our data searches. And then if they don't install those technologies onto the website, we'll use Predict Leads and we'll find, people who are using QuickBooks and they mention QuickBooks in their job descriptions because they're saying, oh, you're going to have to be proficient in QuickBooks and things like that. So at this point in the video, we've gone over how we do a lot of our basic searching is in Sales Navigator and Apollo. We do all of our enrichment inside of Clay. We do some custom searches on intent signals and custom industries like SaaS inside of Crunchbase. And then our local lead finding is with Clay's Google Map, D7 Lead Finder, or the local USA businesses inside of LeadHype. LeadHype also helps us scrape Sales Navigator at scale. Phantombuster can do the same, but it might put your LinkedIn account at risk. And so the last one that I want to touch on, or actually there's a couple more that I want to touch on that are pretty easy to use. If you ever want social data, like I want email addresses from Instagram influencers, or I want email addresses from YouTube influencers, or Facebook, or Twitter, or TikTok, this company called Social Reach, they do it all for you. The founder's name is Sam. He's excellent to work with. He has all of this data and I found it to be really, really robust. I just put in a request to him and he gets it for us and he's super awesome about that. And so anytime we need social data, we go straight to Sam at Social Reach for that. And so I'm just looking at my notes over here. Another company I would want to just point out is called Owler.com. What I like about Owler.com is they have really, really good, they call it sectors, but it's just like industry targeting. And oftentimes, like if you wanted to get a transportation, warehousing, and logistics list, like that could be really tough to get. Say we have software, internet, and computer services. We can click on that and then see how we have subsectors in here. So we could just click on the subsectors and then we could look at all of these things. Look, we have these sales enablement softwares. We have SaaS companies. We have email services. We have enterprise software. We have file sharing. We have big data. We have blockchain. This is another great one that if you're looking for very specific company targets, this is really, really great. They have revenue data, which is really hard to come by. And then we've got employee headcount. They've got some competitor data as well. And then, you've got your more filters in here of like leadership hires and acquisitions and different things like that. So I would just want to call out Owler. Another one I would want to call out is Harmonic.ai. Harmonic has amazing filters. My favorite filter is probably their sector filter for B2B SaaS. It's absolutely phenomenal to just click this button and just get a list of B2B SaaS companies because we use this all the time. And so, yeah, they have 9.8 million companies in their database, which is really, really robust. They have excellent fundraising data. And so we most often use this data for when we need like a super, super specific search where we're looking for keywords in their description and we're looking for like, their customer type is B2B and I want certain industry tags and something like this. Harmonic is a great go-to for this kind of data. And so then let's see, I'm just looking at anything else. So these, I would call all of these mainly retail databases: Crunchbase, Apollo, Clay, Sales Navigator, D7 Lead Finder, Owler. Harmonic. These you could just go to and you could just do a search. Now, if you need to do anything custom though, you might need to take it into your own hands to do scraping, because essentially all of these companies, they're just scraping companies, essentially, is what they're doing. And so if you need to take it into your own hands, I always say that Phantom Buster is kind of like the, I don't know, the like the gateway drug of scraping. You could check out all of these phantoms that they have that you could scrape things for yourself and do things like that. They have a Google Maps search export. They've got Instagram stuff. They've got LinkedIn stuff. I always check Phantom Buster first to see if they have anything. One that's a little bit more technical is called Appify, and you could look at their store, and they have all of these actors in here. Like if you want open job data, they have an Indeed scraper in here where you can use this to scrape open jobs on Indeed, and yeah, and then just get that data, plug it into Apollo or Clay, and find the contact data, and then you can take it from there. And so Appify is also one of our go-tos if we need something very specific. Like a Twitter scrape. I don't know. Like there's just tons of stuff in here. They have over 1,300, so you can just take a look and just see what's on there. Speaking about scraping things yourself, there's two main ways that we scrape things for ourselves custom. And so the first way is this little Pokeball over here. This is a Chrome extension called Instant Data Scraper. And so this tool automatically maps things really, really well and scrapes the website from it. So this is a company called Clutch. And so if you're ever looking for agencies to target, Clutch is where to go for agencies. So if you want to target marketing agencies or web development agencies or mobile app agencies, a lot of them are on Clutch, and it's super easy to just come in here and find them. And so if we were to look for e-commerce, I guess this would be e-commerce agencies. Oh, e-commerce developers, great. So there's 20,000 firms. All we would have to do is just go to Instant Data Scraper and then say all I want is the company name and I want the website. Then we would just go here in Instant Data Scraper and see we have the website in here. We could just click start crawling, and it's just going to go through and it's going to grab all of the data for us. So if we ever need to do anything custom, Phantom Buster, Appify, or Instant Data Scraper are one of the first things that we go to. So then Instant Data Scraper could scrape all of this stuff and we'd be good to go. Now, what if we are searching for data and we have data here, and then we want to click into this page here, and then I want to grab, most common project size or something from here, or something else, like maybe I want to grab the reviews or something like that. So this is called scraping into something or doing a click in. And so the easiest tool that I found, it might not seem like it's the easiest tool in the world, is a tool called ScrapeStorm. It's actually a application that you download onto your computer. And so what I found is super easy about it is you just open it up, you just put in the link that you need, and then it automatically maps everything that you want to scrape. And then you're able to click into items and grab them. So see, it's auto detecting all of these fields. Literally, we just set it up. Then we could just click onto this title link, which is the link right here. It puts it into a box of what you're looking at. So see how it put that into a box? Then we can hit scrape in. It's going to show me scrape in here. And then all that I need to do is just click add a field. And remember, there's something specific that I wanted. I wanted the reviews. So then you click add field, click this, and then you have this field in here. You would just click start and it would just start scraping all of that information, and you could customize it with adding a field and, swapping back and forth between all of these things. And so ScrapeStorm is another great tool that we use as well. And then I would say another thing that we use a ton is like Google search scraping. And so a lot of people don't know about these things called Google search operators, but Google search operators make your searches a whole lot better. And so let's say you want to search for people on Instagram who are real estate agents and they mention their email. So if we were to put Instagram, oh, I've actually done this already. Real estate agent and Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo, blah, blah. Actually, we're going to do this one because we're searching for them to be in New Jersey. We can grab this here and we could find all of these people. And so there's ways that you could scrape all of this data. I think even they're letting you add things to Google Sheets now. Inside of Clay, we could just copy and paste this search, and then we could hit import data, and then we could just use the Google search function to just put that in, number of results, and then hit submit. And then this is basically where, like, then it would just load this Google search. So instead of us trying to figure out some way to scrape Google ourselves, we just do it inside of Clay. It gets us all of the data that we need over here, and then we're good to go. And so, yeah, just a kind of a quick wrap up on this section, if you will, is when you're trying to get more custom data. Phantom Buster gives you access to a lot of easy to use scrapers, and they're already built. Apify does the same, but it's a little bit more technical on how to use. And then if you need to use it yourself, Instant Data Scraper is a great Chrome extension to get started on. And then if you need something more advanced, ScrapeStorm would be able to pull that information for you. And so this is an overview of basically all of the tools that we use. And I would say that, Sales Navigator, like I said, Sales Navigator, Clay, and Apollo, we use more than anything else. Crunchbase, we're basically using for those industry targets and those intent signals. You have your local businesses over here with D7 and Lead Hype. Phantom Buster and Apify come with preloaded custom scrapers. Then I just use Clutch because this is a great place to get agency data, but then you could also scrape it with Instant Data Scraper, and you could click in even better. Owler has great industry data as well. Harmonic has great industry data, and then you could also use Google to scrape things too. And so I hope that this video was useful to you, as kind of just maybe it gave you a couple of companies to go to, maybe it inspired some other things, but yeah, this is basically what all of them come down to, and what we use inside the agency.